Hello, everybody. I am Will, and this is Marvelite Podcast. And with me this week, we have Luke.
Hey.
And we actually have our good buddy CJ, finally, on the podcast.
You're finally here.
After years and years and years of this show not being a thing, and then like months and months, I guess, of it actually being a thing. Yeah. I don't even know. I kind of lost.
We made it
where
all
I
the
was
way
going
to the
with
double
that.
digit. We made it to the double digits all the way without you.
Yeah, I'm really proud of you guys for doing
all
that.
Right.
You hit a. What's up? I was gonna say you guys hit a 1K video, even without me. I was shocked. You didn't need my magic.
Right. Yeah, that's right. We didn't.
You didn't need my mojo, but I'm here today.
Nice.
Yeah. And we are very, very happy to have you.
We have our own magic. It's
yeah. All right. So.
And
stuff to talk about today, right?
Speaking of news that might make us happy, Peyton Reed might be returning to Ant-Man and the Wasp, at least as a rumor.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
I don't have a lot to say on that. What about you?
This is gonna be a 3-minute podcast. Ant-Man, cool. Maskless Zemo, maybe.
I have a few things to say about it. First off, if he is going to come back and direct it, I am 100% for it. He knocked it out of the freaking park with Ant-Man. He did a really good job. You know, that movie had some stuff going on behind the scenes politically. We didn't know if it was going to be a good movie or not. Edgar Wright had left. You know, a lot of fans were really upset about that, but the movie ended up being great. I am excited for that. I do have a question, though. Is Edgar Wright and Joe Cornish and Adam McKay going to come back to write? Probably not.
I think the reason Adam West and Joe Cornish were listed there, I think a lot of the...
That's probably not.
That was probably fan service, if anything.
No, that's the biggest question going into the next movie is because the reason why... Essentially what happened is you had Edgar Wright coming in to direct, and Edgar Wright and Joe Cornish write the original script. And everything that happens after they write the original script that gets picked up is retooling of the script. So once Edgar Wright leaves, Adam McKay is then brought in to fine-tune it, overhaul it, make it go where they want it to go. But essentially, the bulk of that was, not the bulk of it, but huge chunks of that were Edgar Wright and Joe Cornish. So this is going to be a new script that's done entirely by Adam McKay. I mean, we might see still a nod to Edgar Wright because of his work on the first one and kind of establishing, I guess, this character's path, you could say. But they definitely won't be involved in the writing process, I would not believe, unless, you never want to say never, but I can pretty confidently say with no sources at all that they will probably not be involved at all.
And I'm more inclined to agree with that. I still would have loved to seen Edgar Wright's movie, though.
No, absolutely. I think you can still see parts of it. Go ahead.
I'm curious to at least... Yeah, I'm curious as to at least... I kind of want to see a script. Since I know we'll probably never see that movie, I at least want to see what the script would have been. That's one of the few times in life I say that. Like, that one and the James Cameron Spider-Man are two films that I just am curious script-wise.
Well,
or Superman Lives.
Tim Burton Superman.
We want to know what happened.
Tim Burton
Superman
for sure.
Lives. There's a couple movies that you at least want a full script just to know. Maybe someone will animate it just to know what it could have been.
Exactly. Well, the thing is, didn't the James Cameron Spider-Man script leak a while ago? Because I remember reading part of it, and
did.
I was like...
Oh, really? That's
because I read through part of it. So that one you can find online. Yeah, you can find that online.
It's weird. I read the first 20 or 25 pages. You can definitely see where he was going for like a kind of something. Because nowadays when we see like the Spider-Man movies, it's a little more. I mean, it feels like going even back to like the Raimi, the Raimi films, and even into the Mark Webb films. You get kind of a feel. It's the more modern Spider-Man, where it's like Spider-Man acts more like he does in the comics nowadays, but he's still inspired by the kind of the classic comics. James Cameron's script felt right out of like the old school like 60s Steve Ditko type stuff right there. I mean, but it was kind of a weird balance because it was trying to be modern, but at the same time being heavily influenced by the classics. At least that's what I got from like the 30 pages that I read. But
someone had like a lot of art that they did for it that they posted alongside it. You can find it on some website.
Yeah,
you can find it on a couple websites, but the one I went to had like added photos kind of specific sequences within the script. So that
actually, wait. Actually,
kind of going back to.
I've got the website right here, www.google.com.
Oh, wow. Can you link that to me?
Oh, I got you. It's really niche. Nobody's heard of it. But
really low key. But
really low key, like hashtag
back on the whole Ant-Man thing.
Go ahead.
But kind of
we're just stumbling over each other today.
My thing with Ant-Man is yeah. Well, midnight stumbles. But the thing about Ant-Man for me is that like I thoroughly enjoyed the film. Like it basically took the nothing I had going into Ant-Man and made it at least into a respect for him. So it's kind of at the point where I'm just kind of ambivalent to it because I'm so excited for other Marvel films down the line. I'm just not thinking about Ant-Man as much. Like I will admit, it was a damn good movie. It's extremely surpassed my expectations. But every time I think about the film, it's just kind of like fleeting almost.
Well, one more thing.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah, like one more thing I have on this topic. I didn't mean to cut you off, Will, but is this Ant-Man and the Wasp going to be a period piece, possibly set in the 1960s?
That's a good question.
Oh, that is a good question.
That's a good question.
See, the thing is, I don't, as much as I would love to see that and just like a whole movie of digitally de-aged Michael Douglas. Because that was like one of the surprisingly great things about that movie is like walking in and the first thing you see is it's like Michael Douglas smack dab out of like the early 90s. But I get the sense that they're trying to use this movie to set up Ant-Man a little more, and Wasp, of course, for life after Infinity War in a way. But that's just me. I think, this is definitely going to be, it's like, oh, well, we've seen Evangeline Lilly. She kicks ass, but, Ant-Man was really, except for the Falcon references, or not the Falcon references, but Falcon actually showing up, it was really oddly isolated. Like, it felt like, the best way to describe it is it felt like the early MCU movies like Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk, that they had references to the larger universe and, of course, kind of the more fanboy type Marvel stuff. But there weren't an overwhelming number. Like, it didn't feel as connected as the rest of the movies. So
I'm not the only one then that, like, it felt like the movie was a Phase 1 movie. Because that's in many ways, I think that's what it was originally supposed to be, was a Phase 1 movie.
Yes, of course. There's a very real reason for that, and the real reason for that is because production on that started almost 10 years before the movie came out. It was actually supposed to be the first movie. It was on track to be released before Iron Man 1, if everything had gone well, is my understanding of what happened. It was actually it started production before Iron Man 1, I can say that for sure. But then because of script issues, Edgar Wright didn't like how it wrapped up or whatever. It just dragged on and on and on. And to me, I think a lot of people whine about it's like, they fired Edgar Wright. How can you do that? And I love Edgar Wright. Don't get me wrong. His movies are some of my favorites. But when it gets to about there's a point where it gets to be about that time, and you're like, Edgar, are you going to have this movie done after 10 years, or do we need to give you another decade? But. So it's one of the I'm rambling at this point, but I'd be very interested to see, because that's part of the success of Ant-Man was I had very low expectations after the Edgar Wright firing, but it felt great because it felt like a Phase 1 movie. It recaptured some of that early MCU magic, and to that degree it worked really well. And so an Ant-Man and Wasp movie that's now, I guess, thoroughly set in kind of the ever interconnected MCU that we have nowadays.
Yeah.
So how does that even work?
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, are we all good about the Ant-Man? I mean, I basically none of us really have any complaints about if the rumor's true. Like it was a if anything, we have more questions about what the movie is than whether or not Peyton Reed is returning right now. Like I don't think anyone can really complain or say he did a bad job with what he had to work with, because it was a very pickup.
He deserves it.
That he had to do, because he had to pick it up from someone else.
It's basically like, I don't know if either of you guys are big sports guys, but it's kind of like the NBA coach that takes a losing team and gets them to the playoffs. And sure, they lose their first playoff series, but you're not gonna fire the guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he got them to the play. Like thing that comes to my mind, Jason Kidd and the Milwaukee Bucks. They made the playoffs last year, and Milwaukee had I believe they had the number 2 pick in the draft the year before that. It's like, you're not going to fire Jason Kidd just because they didn't win the championship.
Right.
Peyton Reed did a good enough job. He needs to be back for a second one, unless he doesn't want to be.
I know that he has a few upcoming projects. I think if anything else, it's scheduling.
Absolutely, for sure. It definitely is that. But I mean, that's the other place where the MCU has an incredible, amount of luxury there. The luxury of time. Primarily, whereas you got so many movies coming up. Switch some things around.
Yeah,
you've got the next 5 years booked
Marvel
solid.
Marvel already has always has their contingency plan, so they probably have a plan for if they do have them or if they don't have them. They're one of the most prepared companies I've ever seen in my entire life. It's kind of incredible.
And that's all Feige. He is the master planner.
To be honest with you, I would hate to be in Kevin Feige's shoes. Like, could you imagine the amount of stress he probably has to go through every single day? Like the countless phone calls and emails and lunch meetings that he has to go to every freaking day.
I mean, at least you can expense all your lunches, but that's just a side benefit. But no, I absolutely think he's under an incredible pressure to perform at this stage in the game, because you've done so well. You've had a few flops along the way, but you've done pretty well nonetheless. You've built a juggernaut, but here comes the DCCU. I don't think he's really worried about it that much, but I do think there's a certain kind of it's kind of like how they say perception is reality. Well, all the fans are thinking DCCU's come to play. This could be the war, maybe the beginning of the end for Marvel. At least some people are saying that. I don't agree with him, but
no.
So you hope that doesn't get in Feige's head.
No, and he said that the MCU is going beyond Phase 3. It doesn't end at Phase 3. Now this current lineup of superheroes is going to switch up very, very soon. Probably the events of Captain America: Civil War are really going to change the lineup of the Avengers.
Oh, for sure.
But the universe as a whole is not going to die out or anything. It's like I keep saying, the Infinity Gauntlet is the ultimate retcon tool.
Yep. If anything happens, we can always switch universes.
Yep.
If they don't want it, that's fine. We'll make a new one.
I'm pitching. I'm pitching for Phase 4. I'm pitching either Masters of Evil or Secret Wars.
My big pitch for Phase 4 is start small. I would love to see them build into Secret Wars, because that would be great, especially if
that's like the culmination of Phase 4. Like Infinity War is the culmination of Phase 3. If Secret Wars could be the culmination of Phase 4, that would be pretty incredible.
Absolutely. And I think that, maybe I would honestly because we've seen Phase 1 and Phase 2 built up to big things, but I would love to see them kind of maybe take a breather and kind of take us back to so after Phase 3, we don't have to immediately go into, holy shit, worlds are colliding type level crises. Right. So I would love to see Phase 4 specifically, because we're getting Spider-Man in the MCU now. Phase 4, Dark Reign.
Ooh.
And then maybe Phase 5, Siege. And then Phase 6, Secret Wars. At that point, because we've got Doctor Doom in a big place in Latveria.
I don't know, and if some of those rumors are true about, Fox giving up some of those characters, they could do, Secret Invasion.
That'd be tight.
They could do a whole bunch of stuff with Annihilus and Blastar. And, and then again, that would tie into the cosmic stuff, so Guardians of the Galaxy would have a big hand in all of that, and the Negative Zone, and
100%.
So, Kang the Conqueror, too. I keep forgetting about that guy, so...
You were thinking way different from me. I was thinking, I don't know, Masters of Evil, Secret Wars. If they don't get the rights back, Celestials. If they really want to.
That'd be
Oh, the Celestials, I think, are going to have a big hand in Phase 3.
Yeah. I think they'll play a big part in
final
Guardians
move,
too.
though. That's like, yeah,
For real.
I feel like
at that
Celestials
point, who else are you going to fight?
That's a killing swipe right there. Is like once you've exhausted everything you think you can, then you hit Celestials and they're like, nah. It's like, time to fight real gods.
I'm like a little confused as to where some of the characters lie, in the rights department. But I mean, you have you have the Celestials, you have the Eternals, you have the Deviants, you have the Watchers, you have the Living Tribunal. I'm not sure where any of those properties lie. I know that the Celestials were with Marvel. I think the Watchers are with Fox, and I'm not sure about the Living Tribunal or Eternity or Entropy or, I know Death is at Marvel, but
I'm a little worried that Living Tribunal might be with Fox, but I cannot say for sure. I think for the large part, I think if it's, back in the 90s when they sold all the rights, of course, Marvel wasn't really thinking this far ahead.
Right.
But I think a big part of it is that, outside of, there's only so many characters that Fox can own, and
there's only so many characters that they're going to use. I mean, let's be real.
Fox is, I think,
they're not going to start. They're not going to start using characters outside of the X-Men. We're never like Fox. I'm left to assume that they still have all these characters until Marvel says otherwise. But we're never going to see like Skrulls invade Earth in an X-Men movie, or I think as a last resort they could probably do Kang or something like that, but I just don't see any of that happening. I don't think they're going to go cosmic in any way other than, like, I don't even think Apocalypse is going cosmic at all.
No.
So.
I don't really think that they're going to, honest to God, I think, if there's anything that they do, now is the time to just sell the Fantastic Four rights back to Marvel. And
absolutely.
I say that as a guy with a little bit of a Marvel bias, but your last movie made you less than, it had a $112 million budget, and I think it made worldwide about half of that back.
Yeah.
So at this point, Marvel's going to give you a fat check.
Oh, absolutely.
For the rights to the characters back. Probably more than 4 times what the budget is. Well, I'm guessing the deal would be somewhere in the range of like $500 million.
Marvel just okayed them for those 2 X-Men TV shows as well. And you know that Marvel just didn't sign those off for nothing.
Hell
no.
There
had to have been something in the mix.
What Marvel has said about that is that Fox had the TV rights anyways. So it's not really, if my understanding of the situation is correct, and it might be wrong, the fact that Marvel announced it was a little more like, these are still Marvel properties, they're still in Marvel Comics, Marvel's going to put the PR list out on their site, more or less just because, they're Marvel properties. From what I understand, Marvel really didn't have to okay them at all. It was more like Fox was like, hey, by the way, we're planning on doing this. We have the right, so it's not like if you say no, we're going to stop. But that's just my reading of the situation.
Now, one thing I do find a little odd is that on that Friday that Fox said, we're piloting 2 X-Men related TV shows, and that happened on a Friday, and it was like Sunday or Monday that Marvel was like, oh, here's Ant-Man and the Wasp and 3 untitled movies. I thought that was a little suspicious, to be honest with you.
No,
I don't think that was sheer coincidence.
I agree with you completely. I think there's no way that it's just a coincidence, but I think that might have just been an FU to Fox. But we might want to. So we're into phase 3 in rights holding. So do we want to get into a little bit of the Agent Carter news, or?
Yeah, I apologize. We kind of went off topic here.
No, that's on me, dude. Actually, I rambled a lot.
No, it's fine. Like, while we're in the MCU, I figured that we could actually talk about the maskless Zemo information that we just got the other day. Because, Luke, I know you had something that you wanted to say about that.
What? Okay, yeah. maskless Baron Zemo. Hell to the no. Please, Marvel, don't let this be true. I want the purple mask. Please give me the purple mask on Baron Zemo. I would be really upset with you if you do not give him that mask.
I know there's.
So I'm gonna.
I know there's a way to do that.
Go ahead, Will, because I've got it.
I know there's a way for them to do that and not make it look kind of silly, if you will. If they're gonna make Spider-Man work down the road, and he's fully masked, or like any other character that has to wear some type of mask, they can make it work. I think they're not going to initially have him wear it. I feel like it's because if they don't kill him off like we're all hoping, that's something that he kind of works into. And if he's wearing something beforehand, it's like a half mask, kind of like Elektra had in that Daredevil teaser.
So basically, I'm gonna kind of go based off Will, what you said, and expand on it. More or less, I think this is a good sign, and anybody that's a fan of Zemo should be very glad that they're saying that he's not going to wear the mask, if my theory is correct, and kind of it's based on what Will says. I think this means, one, Zemo's not going to die in Civil War. Zemo's going to be around going forward, and we might see more of the Masters of Evil, or an actual version of the Masters of Evil, down the road. Because I think, what might happen is, no, I don't think he's going to wear the mask in the movie, but if he doesn't wear the mask in the movie, I bet you what, dude might get his face dipped in acid.
Oop.
Might get his... I think that might happen in the movie, or, specifically, I don't remember exactly what it is that happens to Zemo's face off the top of my head, but something to that effect might happen during the course of the film.
Yeah.
Right, and I mean...
horribly burned, maybe.
Crossbones, has, like, the same... similar thing happened to him. He's had a building fall on his face.
Yeah, that's always rough.
And he is getting a
commercial.
mask in the movie. Now it's been rumored that he's going to play such a small role that doesn't even really matter. He's not apparently crucial to the story. I hope he's more crucial than what the rumors have been.
Mm-hmm. What I've been hearing, just to interject there, is that he is actually going to be sort of the substitute for Speedball. And that he's going to be what causes not him specifically, but the Avengers, the new Avengers, the very still young and inexperienced Avengers' reaction to him is going to be what causes that coupled with what happened in Sokovia is going to be what causes the Accords, or whatever they're deciding to call them in the MCU. But that's just what I've been hearing. So.
And it's funny, wasn't like some of the showrunners of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of humoring the idea of bringing Speedball into the show?
Yeah, it was actually, what's weird is, and I thought he was gonna be. It seemed like it was confirmed. It was a very odd situation where Franz Kranz, the guy from the stoner from Cabin in the Woods, he tweeted something cryptic out. I think it was just a tweet where it's Robbie Baldwin coming to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or something like that, and everyone was like, holy shit, he's going to play Speedball, which is perfect. And then we've heard nothing about that since. Like, literally, other than that tweet, I think we haven't heard anything. But
going back to the Baron Zemo mask for a second. I am a little bit of a Marvel bitch, so no matter what they do, I am going to go to their movies, and I may bitch and complain about, well, he doesn't have a mask on. What the hell, Marvel? Like, I am still going to watch it, and I'm probably still going to love the hell out of the character and the movie. That being said, I love it when they crowd please us, and I really want to see him with the mask. I really want to see a full iteration of the Masters of Evil. I mean, like, dude, I still gripe that Hawkeye doesn't have a mask and Thor isn't wearing his helmet.
Getting there.
But
They'll get it one day.
That's really those are minor gripes, and it's just a fanboy in me. I personally want to see Baron Zemo in the mask. Now, I'm okay with the movie starting out with him not wearing a mask. Like, I want to see his. Who's the actor that's playing him? Daniel
Bruhl.
Yeah. I want to see his face. He's a terrific actor. Terrific. I do. I want to see his face. I would feel really sad inside if I don't get to see the purpley mask at some point. And you know what? Even if it's not till like the end of the movie, like his face gets dipped in acid or something, and he feels like he's this hideous monster, so he has to like kind of pull a Dr. Doom and have this mask. Like, I'm okay with that. I want to see him not only in like the purple mask, but it would be nice to see him in a purple freaking fur suit too. That would be
Yes.
awesome.
He's got to have the fur collar for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
If he doesn't, I'm going to be sad.
Exactly. That's
got to rock it like a pimp.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say about that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Just get him in the old school kind of pimp and hose for freedom look, but he's pimp and hose for
freedom.
Enslaving people.
Oh. That's still a thing. That's called. It's called the.
I don't know if you guys remember, but I made the thumbnail. Yeah. I don't know if you guys remember, but I totally made the thumbnail for that episode, and it's still my favorite thumbnail that I've ever made.
Nice.
Actually,
I loved that. It took me a couple hours of work, but
dude, we can actually use that as a.
You got a segue for us, Will?
I do have a segue because that episode was actually specifically about Sam Wilson, and so is this next bit of news. So,
yep.
Going on to the Captain America controversy that happened this past week with Fox. I think I'm gonna go last on this one because I actually had to review that book, and I also have my own opinion on it, coming from someone who is black and is certainly not a fan of Fox in really any facet. So I'm gonna let you guys tackle that first before I kind of throw in my little 2 cents on that whole very stupid situation.
I'm just gonna jump in to catch people up. Mainly the main controversy, if you don't know, is there was a cover. Wasn't it a variant of everything? It was an Alex Ross variant, wasn't it?
I believe so.
It was an Alex Ross variant of a new Captain America. I think it was Captain America #1 or Sam Wilson Captain America. What's the book officially titled?
It was #1, wasn't
Sam
it?
Wilson Yeah, I think it's Captain America Sam Wilson #1. I think is.
Captain America Sam Wilson #1, an Alex Ross variant featured none other than Falcon Cap himself making out with Jane Foster Thor on the cover. Very beautifully done, beautiful art, and I think most rational people don't have an issue with it. I don't really see any argument. I haven't yet heard a coherent argument against the cover. I think it's delving into like Donald Trump territory.
Oh,
I think we have 2 controversies that we're talking about. I was talking about the
What are you talking about?
I was talking about the Fox News controversy that happened the other day when they were talking. It was in regards to Sam Wilson regarding immigrants.
Oh yeah. That was great
okay.
too.
So this is the Captain America controversy hour for a minute. Because I do actually want to talk about that because that happened this past week. But yeah, keep going with what you were saying, CJ.
So I'll catch people up on that too. But I was just gonna say I haven't yet heard a coherent argument against, the black Captain America, Sam Wilson, making out with Jane Foster, who is white as Thor. Other than I honestly don't see how it can't be racially motivated, guys. I mean, it's 2015. Literally, people separate but equal ended in our country in 1964, and the fact that we're still arguing about this is very, very strange to me. And it's honestly kind of sad. But
I'm not even 100% sure what they were bitching about.
It was, I mean, honestly, the only way to understand it is I think most well-adjusted people, it won't appear to them at first, but I mean, you just kind of got to think in that kind of mindset. I don't think there's any way that it's not 100% racial. Yeah. And that's what's so sad. I'm so sad that I'm not even going to make my Blazing Saddles wear the white woman hat joke.
What did Fox have to say about this?
Fox's
thing was with the issue.
Do you mind if I catch them up on this too? Fox's thing was with the issue. It wasn't with the cover. Luckily, they managed to. If they had any opinions about the cover.
What was so wrong with the issue? I haven't read the issue.
The issue was the villain was the Serpent, wasn't
it? It was the Order of the Serpent or Secret Serpents.
The Order of the Serpent. And more or less, the issue, the villain was angry at. My understanding is it was illegal immigrants or something like that. Was it not?
Yeah, it was.
He was frustrated with illegal immigrants.
Okay, if I remember correct.
And he decided to take matters into his own hands.
Yeah, you can figure it out if you
go
watch the review. But if I remember correctly from the issue, it was that. So basically, he got a call from. He opened up a hotline so people could call him about issues, so that he could kind of basically be almost a hero for hire of sorts. And he got a woman was concerned about her grandson, who would take supplies from nearby and give them to local illegal immigrants, like undocumented immigrants that live nearby. And the issue was she was worried about him because the society, the little order of the serpent or whatever, which just seemed like almost comedic level modern 2015 racist, but with like weapons and bigots, but with like some kind of Marvel level weapons. And they were going in there and they're just like, well, we don't need those people stealing our jobs and taking our supplies and tools and whatnot. And he goes in and protects them. He's like, listen, they're just trying
basically, like,
they're trying to be decent people like you. Basically something that would probably happen in real life.
Essentially, I just looked up a little bit of a quick recap. What happens is the guy's name is the Supreme Serpent.
Yeah.
And he and his foot soldiers, I believe it's the Sons of the Serpent, they're a subversive racist group. As that's the quote that I found right here from Comic Book Resources. Shout out Comic Book Resources for saving this podcast. Basically, he's standing on the U.S.-Mexico border, and he's he and his Sons of the Serpent are an armed militia that are trying to turn away illegal immigrants. And this is like the Fox News host's literal quote. He says, in regards to Captain America, he's like, he's got a new odd enemy. Instead of going against Hydra and the typical Captain America villains, disregarding the fact that Supreme Serpent is a typical Captain America villain, he's going up against conservatives. That's his new enemy.
Oh,
he says
my
basically,
God.
And here's the other guy, Tucker Carlson, who used to be on CNN, famously got burned by Jon Stewart on Crossfire. So who is this serpent? Is this serpent an Islamic extremist? An ISIS member bent on destroying Western civilization? No. The serpent is an American who has misgivings about unlimited immigration and the costs associated with it. That, according to the comic book, is evil. So if you take away one thing, honestly, I'm going to steal the Jon Stewart thing because I love Jon Stewart so much. Your moment of zen is the fact that Fox News literally defended a comic book supervillain.
They defended a Nazi.
Yeah.
Let's be real here. Fox News defended
neo-Nazis. Not even real neo-Nazis.
I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
All right, let me go in. Yeah, let me talk about both of these controversies really quickly. So for the first one of him kissing Thor, I don't see an issue with it. My only concern is that I don't want them to force any type of relationship because we now know that is Jane Foster, who was originally old Thor's boo thing. So because in the
Thor's
new number one,
back.
he seems to be Sam is, I think, in a relationship with Misty Knight right now. And, this is my own personal opinion, but I kind of would like to have a black couple in Marvel, because we do have a lot of interracial couples, which is awesome, but we don't have any, we don't really have any specifically, black couples. That's my own personal thing. I don't have a problem with him being with Thor, but if it's something that winds up ending with Misty Knight, which I think they established before this new number one, is that they were together, I just don't want them to force it or rush it in any matter. If it happens, please, God, let it be natural, because I feel like that's something we'll be getting later on. Or it might just be a variant cover. It might just be art. So, it's Alex Ross. It's well done.
No, I think it is art.
Yeah, it's Alex Ross. It's well done.
My guess is
whatever. Take it with a grain of salt, basically.
My guess is that it's just juxtaposed specifically for the purposes of these are two characters that made waves because they were new. It was different. You've got a female Thor, you've got a black Captain America, and they both came out at the same time, and they both got shit together at the same time. And I think, there was a huge public outcry. I think this is more of another Marvel going F you, but going F you to everybody that really had a problem with Captain America being black and Thor being a woman.
As long as they're...
But, I will say, I do still think the Jane Foster thing, I'm not against it. My thing is I still haven't heard, a great explanation for it. We just found out that Jane Foster was Thor, and Secret Wars is still going on, so I don't think it's been ever explained to us why she became Thor. So I'm kind of waiting on that.
And why it wasn't Valkyrie, but that's just me.
No, yeah, but the main thing for me is Sam Wilson That makes sense.
Does.
It is, for a long time, like Bucky's been Cap. Bucky's now running around as Bucky. So
Cap
Sam, it was time for him to step up because he's been, and Cap is now an 80-year-old man. Like he's an 80-year-old man that's still in good shape, but he's got new duds now.
Yeah, and just kind of going into the Fox thing. First of all, if you just kind of take off your strange, semi-bigoted goggles and take a step back into the real world where we all live, it's a comic book. Like, at the end of the day,
it's a comic book.
Now,
and if they really get offended by that, I have some more that they can read.
Well,
they haven't even scratched the surface. I mean, they're still dealing with Marvel.
Yeah, and the thing is, if they actually read the book, like the actual #1 issue, that is related to what the whole new Captain America is about. Like the new Sam Wilson Cap his whole new thing is just kind of tackling modern American issues in the same way. Because one of the things he brought up was that Steve was relatively, I don't want to say liberal or really conservative in any matter. He was a man of the people, and the thing is, the people change.
He was a populist.
The people change with times, and Sam Wilson kind of wants to uphold that value, but he also realizes that it's a different people.
Yeah, America
is not as political as it sounds. It's not like a majority white country. There are people that live here that are of like Latino and Hispanic descent. There are black people. Those are people that need help too.
No, absolutely.
There are gay people. Like there are new issues that the old Cap doesn't have as much. It's not really the days of just punching a Nazi in the face and the fight is over.
Yeah.
There's a lot more blurring of the lines between, conservative and liberal and all that other jazz. It's just kind of a whole deal about, hey, let's not be dicks and help people. And he's like, I'm a do that. It's like, hey, they're pressuring some people just because they don't live here. It's like, well, they do need to eat and drink water at the minimum. It's all they're coming for. They're not stealing weapons or documents. They want food and water. That's it.
Yep.
No, for real. And to keep it in kind of a political place, because it's definitely a political issue. I mean, I'm going to throw out a political fact that might surprise some people. As everyone knows, Mitt Romney lost the 2012 election, unless you've, just woken up from a coma, in which case, thank you for listening to us before you found out that there's a black man still president.
He's black?
He's
what?
Essentially, what's funny is Mitt Romney won the same percentage of white voters that Ronald Reagan did in 1984.
Huh.
The only thing that's changed is the fact that there are now more minorities in this country. So, I believe, I might be wrong about that statistic. It might have been 1980, but 1984, if it is 1984, which I believe it is, 1984 was the biggest landslide in election history. Because it was an electoral college shutout. Reagan carried every state. So it is a very real fact. And if Fox News can't handle the fact that there are other people than white folks living in this country, it's time for a superhero to defend everyone. Like really, and I think it was great that it happened.
He's a Captain America of all Americans is the thing, regardless of like race, creed,
for them
sexuality,
for them to get offended. Just for them to get offended by a fictional character in a fictional story, it boggles my mind. Somehow there's still a news station.
Well,
news quote unquote.
Yeah, I mean, don't get. I'm not personally attacking Fox because I think that most media is garbage. You just,
that's fair.
There's just a lot of misinformation out there. So, but to publicly defend a fictional Nazi, you're kind of doing it wrong. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe we should just hear the Sons of Serpents out. Maybe those immigrants just don't need to live. Maybe Steve Rogers, when he came, he came down in that little helicarrier jet, maybe he should have just took them out. Maybe that's what's happening in issue 2. My God.
I'm gonna go as far as to say is the concept of borders in general are they're just a man-made construct to keep humans segregated from other humans.
And I think I won't go that far, but I think borders. I will say borders mean less and less nowadays.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this episode has taken a really strange political turn.
Yeah.
Watch, guys. We're gonna get picked up by CNN.
I have nowhere. Are we anywhere near the 40 mark yet?
We just passed 4011, 4012, 4013, 4014.
Okay. We're getting pretty close. Time,
so.
But
if we're trying to wrap up now, any final thoughts on any of this?
Let's go.
Yeah, we kind of apologize to the fans for getting a little too political here.
Yeah, it's trigger warning if you hate Hispanics and publicly defend Nazi supervillains.
I'm actually curious to see what kind of comments we're going to get on YouTube for this.
Rage. Frank Miller himself.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
rise.
You know what? Bring it on Donald
By the way,
Trump.
this is the more gentler side of the opinion of what you're going to get for it. If you really want to see some rage, go over. Well, there's a slight plug to our buddies over at Comic Book Cast, but go watch our memes video. There is some rage and some very interesting talk in the comments, kind of regarding the whole situation with Sam as Cap. But I think on that note of minorities teaming up to take down fictional neo-Nazis, that's a pretty interesting title grab. That might be the title for this week. I think that's a pretty good place for us to end the show this week on that note. So
absolutely.
Oh, and I will say to Armin from the Comic Book Cast, we plugged first.
We did.
Now it's your turn, buddy. Throw a little love our way.
Exactly. Waiting on that.
Throw a few of those Patreon dollars this way, buddy.
Slide into those DMs and let the people know.
Oh well. So yeah.
So
good job, guys.
Yep, I think it's pretty all right this week. All right, so this has been.
I think
slide into the DMs.
Yeah, all right. So this has been the Marvelite podcast with Luke. Luke, you there?
Hey yo.
All right, and CJ.
Yeah, I just said yeah. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.
All right,
and CJ, thanks for being on this week.
Yeah, thank you, CJ.
Dude, no problem. I'd love to make more in the future. Schedule permitting,
Yeah.
Definitely. All right. Well, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment to Hybrid Network. And this has been the podcast. Good night, everyone.